I'm the Home Slice Hyperion, and today I want to share the story of one of Halo's most tragic weapons. And while there are several examples of less than impressive weapons in the Halo franchise, our subject today is very special. I want to open up our investigation with a quote. "The road to hell is paved with good intentions." And this same road leads us straight to the Halo Reach exclusive weapon, the Focus Rifle. But what misfortunes created this god-awful laser pointer? Well, today I'm going to break down how the Focus Rifle is the product of conflicting priorities, in which an attempt to create the best of both worlds resulted in a collision of the worst of two worlds. Be sure to tap that subscribe button and slide into my Discord server once this video is over. Let's get this started. So, the year is 2008. Halo Reach is slated to release in just 2 short years, and with any game series, we find our game's features being weighed on the cutting room floor. Among the features awaiting potential slaughter are 2 of the franchise's most recurrent weapons, the Sentinel beam and the beam rifle. Why? Well, let's discuss. The Sentinel beam is thematically dependent on one key thing: Sentinels. And since Halo Reach is Sentinel free, it would be hard to fudge a Sentinel beam into the campaign and in turn the multiplayer sandbox. Please make a little note here that this is why the multiplayer sandbox of a game should never be limited by the single player experience, like ever. Up next is the beam rifle, which is on the block for a very different reason. Chances are, after nearly 10 years of dudes in their mid-20s complaining on the internet about the beam rifle being an easier to use sniper rifle, Bungie had enough. On top of that, this game was already slated to include more content than any other Halo game before it, and with great content comes great content limitations. In the year 2010 that is. This game still has to come in around 7 GB, and Bungie has to consider conserving every micro bit of memory they can to ship this game. If the fans don't want to see a use for 2 sorta different snipers, well then maybe we only need 1 sniper rifle. But wait, cries out one of the devs, we just can't get rid of the Sentinel beam and beam rifle, those are iconic Halo weapons, it wouldn't be the same without them. Yo, true, but what about the SMG? We just cut that. F the SMG. Yeah, you're right, f the SMG, let's try to save the Sentinel beam and beam rifle. Well, lucky for us, our 2 issues can actually solve each other. The Sentinel beam is actually one of the most functionally unique weapons in the Halo series, and for that reason, it's perfectly valid to keep. If people think the beam rifle is just a bootleg sniper, well, all we gotta do is make it really stand out from the norm. So then, we fusion dance these 2 misfits together and voila, problem solved, right? We've converted the Sentinel beam to a campaign-friendly version, and we've switched the sniper projectile for a continuous energy beam. On paper, we've just solved 2 problems and saved 2 weapons. Job well done, boys, right? Right? Look, it's one thing that we're trying to combine 2 unique weapon functions into one, but the other issue is that we're also jumping between 2 different damage potentials. The beam rifle has the ability to insta-kill, and if not, rapidly 2-shot a full health enemy. The Sentinel beam is well, far from that. And furthermore, we've changed the definition of a sniper in order to call the Focus Rifle a sniper. Historically, the sniper rifles in Halo were defined by their double scope capability, low ammo capacity, and their one-shot headshot potential. With the Focus Rifle, we've just sort of decided that the sniper scope means sniper rifle and wrapped a little bow on it. And funny enough, by saying this, I'm no way implying that making this work is impossible. In fact, this same concept of a continuous beam sniper rifle already exists in the Halo games. It's the binary rifle from Halo 5. Oh, you don't believe me? Double scope, insta-kill potential, and that's granted you can get a headshot or land a continuous flay of damage on the enemy. See how that works? And in fact, I'd imagine most you never really drew that connection between the Focus Rifle and binary rifle until just now, so does that feel kinda cool? If you ask me, Bungie was too focused on retaining the appearances of the original weapons, rather than actually designing to properly mesh their individual functions. And by appearances, here's what I mean. There was a greater concern with having the player readily identify the parts of the weapon they recognize to quell any dislike they would have had if the guns were gone. So aesthetically, the focus rifle most obviously resembles the beam rifle, and the firing style of the Sentinel beam, which is the important part, is very easily represented in the focus rifle. So the player is emotionally reconnected with the two weapons the focus rifle represents. This left the actual function out to dry, as the same issues that plague the Sentinel beam functionally were allowed to translate onto the focus rifle. Low damage potential, inconsistency, requirement for pure 100% accuracy, the old problems, right? And without any of the actual combat perks of the old beam rifle, the gun quickly lost out on any potential advantages it could have had. If you contrast this again to the binary rifle, it's kind of like the opposite side of the same coin. Even the aesthetic flips sides, but the focus turns onto the function versus the appearance. I know almost 11 years later, this whole subject might seem anecdotal, but I think the focus rifle is a prime example of intention versus execution. I talked about this when we talked about the tragedy of the gun goose. Clearly, Bungie didn't intend to create one of the most functionally inferior weapons in the franchise's history, but with some more conscious consideration for how the gun worked, rather than what it could do to save two guns from becoming cut content, the focus rifle could have been the binary rifle before the binary rifle. And of course, this isn't a claim to fame for the binary rifle or endorsement of one versus the other. What I'm trying to squeeze into your brain is how similar the two guns are on paper, but how quickly they diverge when that paper becomes a living, breathing game. So while I'm sure several of you look back on the focus rifle with fond memories, consider this question. If a focus rifle and an H5 binary rifle were both in front of you in Halo Infinite, be honest, which one are you picking up? That's gonna do it for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't, drop your comments below. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.